Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Delgardo.
And of course, this week, Cuddy, we have a very packed house.
Yeah, we do.
So look, you guys, this week we have Ashley McGurdy, who is actually going to give us some tips on how to make your apartment or house, wherever you live, fire. We have Rob Ross to talk to us about his back to school function. Then we also have my buddy, Mike Dugar. Child, he just dropped a new book. It's called The Franchise Seattle Seahawks, a curated history of the Legion of Boom era. But first, you already know what time it is. It is time for the weekend warm-up.
Yep, and this warm-up is for my lovers and friends, as it's all R&B themed for my parties and events.
I know that's right.
So we're gonna start out with our folks down at For the Lovers, as they have their For the Lovers 1-year anniversary, which is their day party. It's gonna be taking place Friday, August 22nd at Darkalinos from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. You can get your tickets via Eventbrite. Next, we have, this one's an actual nationwide tour that's going on for R&B parties. It's called R&B Live Only, and they too are celebrating an anniversary. It is their 10-year anniversary, and it'll be taking place August. So that's Friday for the 22nd. Misspoke on that, but this one will be Saturday, August 23rd at Showbox SoDo from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. You too can also get tickets there via Eventbrite. And then moving on to Sunday, we got the Cozy R&B Day Party, which is brought to you by Cozy Worldwide at LTD Bar and Grill from 3 to 8 p.m. And tickets are also found on Eventbrite. And then lastly, closing out my events, is actually a Portland event, and it is the Hip Hop Yacht Party Cruise, which is presented by Where It's At ENT, which will be taking place also on Saturday at August 23rd at the Portland Spirit from 10:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. So make sure to go to Eventbrite, type in Portland Hip Hop Yacht Party, and get your tickets today.
All right, okay. I like the R&B vibe.
You know, I gotta keep it chill, keep it cool and sexy for them. You know?
Well, that and you know, our little Costco sample of summer is just about over, so
exactly.
It's about time
so we
to
gotta
chill it out a little
wind
bit.
it down. You know, none of that standing on couches anymore. We're not doing that.
Not unless you go back to Atlanta.
Hey.
And then that's all year round.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of some other events that are going on, look, this is a very, very special week right here in the Pacific Northwest because it is Portland Hip Hop Week. And Portland Hip Hop Week was actually started in 2015, so this is their 10-year anniversary.
Come on,
so
congrats.
I'm going to list a few of the events that are going on. You know why? Because as I always say, Portland is not that far. So first and foremost, Thursday have hip hop bingo and a mixer. This is going to be over at the Alberta Street Pub. Then, oh, by the way, this is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You know, we stay being late, so you got to make sure you get people at times. Also on Thursday, this is actually from 9 p.m. to 12 p.m. over at White Owl Social Club. It is the Late Lyric Hip Hop Open Mic, so make sure you guys bring your good lyrics. Now, Saturday is Hip Hop with Healthy Walk, okay? I don't think that they've done this any of the other years, so I'm happy that they've added this addition. And if they have done it, I don't know why I didn't get my lazy butt up and go to it. But this is going down over at Lloyd Center Mall. This is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Also, Saturday is Laced Up PDX. This is over at Friends of the Children from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then again on Saturday, yes, there's two more Saturday events, by the way. There is Elation Hip Hop 2025. This is happening over at McMiniman's White Eagles from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then from 9 p.m. to 12 p.m., also on Saturday, is A Night of Chill Vibes Volume 2. This is also going down over at Alberta Street Pub. Now, Sunday is a big day. This is their Star Award. This is happening over at Patricia Reeser Center for the Arts. Say that even 3 times fast, all right? This is going down from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, here's the thing. I've gone to PDX Hip Hop Week 1, 2, maybe 3 times. Of course, because it's being put on by my big bro, DJ OG1. But my sis, Trey Renee from over at Gemini 1075, she lives in Portland. So she knows all the vibes of the PDX Hip Hop Week. So really, really quick, Cuddy, have you gone before?
No, I haven't actually.
So you don't know the vibes?
No, I don't know the vibes.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna tap in with Trey Renee to figure out the vibes and the energy and just really what PDX Hip Hop Week means to the Rose City. Of course, you're watching Almost the Weekend.
What's up, everybody? It's your guy, DJ OG1, co-founder of PDX Hip Hop Week, and it is our 10-year anniversary, y'all. Going down August 20th through the 26th, Portland, Oregon, and we have an amazing lineup of events, everything from skating parties to hip-hop bingo, all the way to our annual Star Awards going down at the Reeser Center for the Arts. You don't want to miss it. For details, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We are talking Portland Hip Hop Week, and today is the official kickoff at 3 o'clock downtown. And I'm so excited. It's Directors Park, and this is it. This is 10 years. 10 years of Portland Hip Hop Week. For those who don't know, this was started back in 2015 by my guy, DJ OG1, and the late, great Starchild. And yeah, sadly, Starchild, he passed away, but he was a Portland native, definitely pivotal in the hip hop scene. He was an event curator, the ultimate hype person, and I'm honored to have been able to call him my friend. And honoring his legacy and continuing it on is the other founder, my guy, my brother from another mother, DJ OG1. And so I can't believe that this has been 10 years for fostering community through hip hop with love and respect, because that was part of the whole mission. It was like the hip hop community, we weren't really being respected out here in Portland. And so these two came together and was like, yeah, no, this is an inclusive, diverse environment. We all love this music. We all appreciate this culture. And if you don't, you're going to learn today. Because 10 years, I just cannot even believe that it's been celebrated in this way in Portland. And so, again, the kickoff is today at 3 o'clock. Directors Park, downtown Portland. All you hip hop heads, show up, show out in all the best and loving ways. And this is going on all the way through Sunday with the culmination with the Star Awards, which I know, Besa, you are more than familiar with.
Oh, absolutely.
I see you all over the socials. You were all on the scene with your.
I didn't make it to the Star Awards last year, but the first year that I went, I was at the Star Awards, and that was an absolute vibe. Which one did I go to last year? I went to the Hip Hop Wine and Chill, and then I ended up getting the Trailblazer Award. So,
yes.
I did. Yes, I did.
We are fellow Trailblazer Award winners. Yes, and that Hip Hop Wine and Chill event is so fabulous. Shout out to Bertoni and Abbey Creek Winery, and I mean, there's so many. Besa, there are so many sanctioned events. I know that you have a rundown of them all, and
I do,
and they all deserve the attention and love. But there are some in particular that really tickle my fancy.
Well, let's find out what tickles.
Well, old school roller skating. I mean, you got to get your shoulders in. That's a whole body movement, right? I love an old school skate party, okay? And that is happening on, let me look right here. Oh, that's tonight too. Oh man, I got to lace up my skates. I didn't think I knew that was tonight, 7 p.m. at Oaks Park Roller Rink. Skate and shake. When I tell you there are so many events, Besa, I know you know some too that are going down. They even have like a wealthy walk. Our guy Juma.
No, that I thought was dope. And they have the bingo.
Girl, I mean, can you ask for anything more than these fun, fabulous, integral events that bring the community together in all sorts of ways? I mean, come on. You can get your fitness on with the wealthy walk, right? You can also skate your way into, probably some sore muscles and just don't hurt your tailbone. And there will be filming, so you don't want to be that meme. But, you can do that. You can also get your bingo on. There are community events like Laced Up PDX. That's happening on Saturday. One of the local hip-hop artists here, Mighty, does this event for the community. sneaker giveaway, haircuts, all sorts of things, getting kids ready to go back to school with laced up PDX. I mean, honestly, there are just a ton of events. And of course, we're also highlighting them here on Jammin' 107.5 as well to make sure that we know that we are getting the information out to everybody. And we want everybody to come through. All of our neighbors out there, Seattle and beyond, come through to Portland for Portland Hip Hop Week. I'm telling you, my guy DJ OG1 never, ever disappoints. And with the culmination, with the Star Awards, free, by the way. Yeah, that part. Free as me. That's on Sunday. And we are so excited to have those awards. People are flying in, artists are flying in. It's going to be fantastic.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Curtis Delgardo.
And right now we have another event to talk to you about. But child, first and foremost, I don't have kids, so I didn't even realize that school starts in about a week or so. But we digress. We got Rob Ross in the building to talk to us about his back to school function, pop-up shopping and resource fair that is going down on August 30th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Yes,
Hey, thank you guys, man, for having me, man. Listen, man, I
appreciate
watch you guys
you
enough,
flying
man.
me.
I got it. You
Yes,
feel me?
sir.
Oh, come on, man.
How you feeling today?
I'm actually feeling magnificent,
As you should be.
you know? Feeling really great, you know? Working hard right now and just getting prepared for this run we got here. Because actually I have two events. I have one that's actually the 23rd and the 30th, but
Okay.
we're here for the 30th right now.
Okay, well shoot. Speaking of the 30th and cars that are zooming down the street.
Love it. I love it. I love it.
First of all, this is not your first backpack drive that you've done.
Fourth annual.
This is your fourth one. So can we take a second to even talk about why are you doing these backpack drives?
Well, for me, what I do is I try to, look at what's going on in the community and just see where there's a need, right? And so I was, going to a few other people's backpacks drives and just, helping out, passing out backpacks. And it was great. It was fun. But I realized that people would come in, walk in, get the backpacks, and a lot of them just had that where they walk right off and they go home. That's cool. So I thought to myself, what would it look like if we did the same concept of my events that I usually do on my vendor events? Let's just see if we can mesh them all together. So I just thought it would be an awesome thing to do is put all this together. So that's what we came up with, the concept of doing the backpack giveaway, a little free food. We got the whole center section for the kids to just play, and we're just making the parents, we're giving the parents, they don't realize it, but when they're done with us, the kids are going to go home and take a nice little nap. So
You guys is helping them out.
and so I'm trying to help them out at the same time. But also, like I really said, it was just my thing was backpacks are essential to give away to kids. But like me, we were just talking a little while ago, I decided to try to figure out something else to add to the backpacks or add to the moment. So I'm going to give away beanies for a few kids. So they're going to get some beanies with the Colossal logo on there and get to go to school feeling Colossal.
And who's some of the people that are key to your team that help you start building this foundation with these backpacks and getting that message out there? Because I'm sure it takes a village.
Wow. It's funny because I do a lot of it all by myself, and it's kind of crazy that I literally set out, I talk to the people that are going to vend, I call the porta potty people, I call the people that are going to do the bouncy house, I call a lot of that I did myself. Now, that has not been the case for every event. The first event was started with one of my friends, her name is Netta. She has a thing called Ruby Pearls Hair. And she started it with me the first one we did it together. Because like I said, we parlayed it from our regular vendor events. And then we decided, hey, let's do the backpacks this year. So we did that. And then she moved to Houston. So she's on H-Town right now.
Oh, yeah.
And then so the second year, I did it. I had a little help the second year. So it's been some people come in and help, some people come in and help, some people don't. This year, Rob is got somebody that came through and helped me with a few items, but no one with the actual work has helped me. So I've been doing this myself. So it's kind of next year I'm not doing it by myself.
No, absolutely, especially with giving you the platform here to tell people about what you got going. Delegation is everything. So for the people out there that see what got going, take that as an opportunity to reach out and, tap in with community and see where you could put your expertise to be able to help you expand the event.
Wide open. I do not want to do everything myself. But I know that if I don't hold on to it, because I almost didn't do the event, you guys. I want to just, since we're here today in space, and we're going to talk about it, I almost didn't do it because I have so much coming together right now. I've been in the juvenile, working at the juvenile with my program. Every Saturday, I go in there and do a couple hours. And then I just started this new program called Guy Talk Interactive Workshop, where we take the youngsters in, we do a healing circle, but then outside of the healing circle, we do entrepreneurial things. We teach them how to, you know, set up businesses, how to start, you know, things like that. I got the thing called Vibrant Voices, where they're gonna be working with me through this magazine called Vibrant that I actually the sales director of. So we're gonna add all that together. So I was working on all that at the same time, having to learn how to, because usually I'm working for somebody or with somebody in this kind of capacity, but now it's my first time actually having to get ready to learn to do the books on these things, you know what I'm saying? I can do a book on just a regular thing that I'm doing, but I have to check every dot and every, you know what I'm saying? So it's different, but it's gonna be a great ride. So I was going through all that, and I almost had a breakdown to a point where I had to just sit down and just sit back and like, bro, do not do that. Let the event go on, because all I really need for the event to go on is the people that I've been dealing with as far as vendors go, and we know that we bring the backpacks, and the place where we're gonna do it at is, people already know I'm gonna do it, so it'll be like, I can imagine not doing it, and I can imagine people going up there like, it's about that time, Rob should be here. So God was like, nah, bro, you're doing the right thing, just breathe and keep it going. So that's why this event's still going on.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
That means it touches your heart.
Man, it should though, right? Because it's coming from my heart. The work that I do in community is it's a real test of what I've been going through, and I'm proud to be in this position now, because again, like I said, I'm seeing the work that I'm doing, and I'm seeing that I can get the work off. And like I tell everybody, with me, it's a holistic situation. And what I mean by that is meaning that I know that if I'm dealing with these youth, and I'm doing all the work with them, and then we send them back home, if the home is not good, all they do is reset and go back to factory reset. And so we can just keep doing this over and over. That's going to be a cycle. So now we're trying to get out to work with the parents, have something for the parents to come out and do. We're trying to have sessions for the parents to come sit in these circles so that they can talk. And I got one that I want to set up, and I don't want to talk too much about that, so I don't want nobody to jump on my move before I do it. But I think it's going to be really great to see how that unfolds. But yeah, you guys, I watch you guys, and I love you guys as movement. I love the work you guys are doing, and the community needs you guys. So please keep up this great work you guys are doing. You guys are awesome.
Most definitely will. And I think what else is great about this event is you have pop-up shopping, but it's also a resource fair. What kind of resources do you have?
So we have, I should go on my phone to do this, but we have Fresh Start out there. We have someone that's going to be representing the Banu Community Home where I work at. So that's a place for homelessness. We got a spot for the people, brothers, if they need somewhere to stay, we got a place for them. We have somebody from King County, the medical, the dental, coming out to set people up, sign them up for the dental work. We have, we have the bank coming out. We have Key Bank coming out. They're going to be doing some banking and setting people up with banking and things like that. I'm trying to think through my head how many different people I got going through there for the resources, but we got about maybe 10 different resource booths where they're going to be set up, and then it's about maybe only like 4 food booths, and then the rest are just going to be like clothing and things like that. We got Mentor Seattle coming. They do the same work. We work in the juvenile beside each other, but they do their own program. But it's a great thing to see them. Also, Fresh Start's also in the juvenile too. So it's kind of like we're all in that juvenile, just giving all this work. And what's dope for me is that I can say that I know those guys that run those programs. So when we're talking to the youngsters, they don't think that we're just in here like just all really. No, we know each other, brother, in community. We sit down and we talk to each other. So when your guys are acting wild in their class, don't come sit in my class and think that we're not going to speak about the things you guys did. So we have a bunch of different resources out there, though. U-Haul, as you guys know, I have a U-Haul dealership, and so I get the U-Haul to come out, you know what I'm saying, and they help with some of the backpacks and stuff. So I want to say Mentor Seattle's going to bring backpacks out. Banu Community Home's bringing a backpack out. Fresh Start, I have some backpacks. So we're going to have about 400 backpacks. And then I got about maybe 150 beanies that I'm going to just toss in. I could have got more beanies, but the timing wasn't right for me. So, but it's gonna be good. They're gonna be happy.
How do you feel when you're at this event, you see the kids, they get their teeth cleaned, they get their backpack, maybe they get a beanie,
The haircuts.
I got haircuts too.
all the things, and that one of them you even had like some goats.
Now that was wild. That was because Arms Around You was there with us last year, and they also helped out. They actually helped me last year. Really, man, it was. When I tell you that there was no weight on my shoulder last year, to where it was so different how it went from like that to back where, but we still got it's going to be the same fun's going to be there, but it makes me feel amazing being that I can see those kids and it's the parents that make me light up because the kids are lit. The kids would be cool to just come and jump on the bouncy house, run around, play a couple of the games, get something, but it's the parents because they receive this the right way. Like, you never see no parents out there, it's always no tension. It's always just a great space, and it's always just beautiful community. So I love it. I will do this until I can't do it no more. I promise you that I'll keep doing this. I'll be at 10 or 15, I'm gonna keep going. So I'll keep doing this.
Absolutely. And then lastly, I think, first of all, we haven't even talked about where it's going to be at. Where is this one at?
Oh, it's in Skyway. So it's in the Skyway, it's in the grocery outlet parking lot we use. And a little small story about that. So how we ended up even using that space is we had it was one of the walks when the pandemic was going on, there was a walk that they had in Skyway. They had walked from the park, I want to say, and then they did the Black Bite. But when they were trying to do it inside the park, they were trying to do it inside of the place. They told them, instead of just coming, just go over there where Rob's spot's at in the Catfish Corner, when Catfish Corner Express was up there, and just do it over there. And they didn't even ask us that we want them to do it in front of our place, they didn't realize we already knew who they were though. They didn't know we knew that though. So we ended up doing that event, and I looked around like, this is kind of nice, huh? I might do my own events around here. I'm always going somewhere else to do my events. Let me use my own spot. And so Grocery Outlet told me that that's my space. Even with the new owners there, they said, that's your spot. You do your event there every year. You could put our name on the thing. We're gonna let people know that you're gonna be doing it. And so shout out to Grocery Outlet for the funny, the accident love.
We love when community supports each other.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
Yeah.
They were basically trying to be shady and you got something really good out of it.
Right.
They were trying to do you dirty and you were like, actually, let me flip this around.
Let me flip this. Let me flip it. They don't know, man. We make lemonade out of lemons, right?
Come on.
You can't do nothing. You make scrambled eggs out of some eggs. Hey, we all right. We gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But again, like I said, community, it needs us. And I've had a conversation the other day with someone, you guys, and they were like, oh man, somebody's doing this, what I'm doing, and they're copying what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And so I looked at the person, I could let them talk, and I said, I got a question for you. If they're doing the same thing you're doing, serving the community, do you really think we should have a freeze on that? Should we freeze that and just say, you're the only one who can do that, and then we only serve that many people? When you think about it, you innovated that. Don't you want to say that? Then you got to look at it like this. Then everybody that's copying you are doing what your work was set out to be done, right? Because in the life we live, have you guys ever thought about something like this right here? When people say somebody copied this and copied that, if the world was built on nobody copying nobody's stuff, could you imagine that? Would be one type of shirt, one pair of shoes, one kind of car. You see what you see, you add to it, you enhance it, and look at what we got now. Look at us. We all wearing different stuff, but they're clothing made by somebody. Somebody made this clothes, and we're wearing it. And so with me, I'm okay with you doing what I do. Emulate what I do. Take what I'm doing, and please give to the community. Give all this. Just give. Help out. Do what you got to do. Make sure that people are being loved on. Love on people. When you see somebody you love, make sure you guys tell them that you love them, man, when you leave out their presence. Because if you don't, something may not work out later on, and you was holding that inside. So just always tell somebody you love them. If you love them, though. If you don't love them, you know what to say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You say that to everybody.
And I, from where your seats are different, but you know what I mean. And you know the difference if you say something. Yeah. If I say I love you, you know that I love you. You know that. So,
no, I'm saying like if it's someone that you really don't like, then you can't just be saying it to everybody.
You shouldn't. No, you should. No, exactly. I didn't hear that. So yes, please don't tell them that, because then you'll be lying.
Absolutely.
We
And
don't
then,
do that.
you know, is there anything else that you want for us, for people to know about your resource fair, your mission for our community, or even this amazing line? Because
Yes. Well, that's great. That's a great point. That's a great point. So Colossal Life is my brand, which started off as an affirmation. It was my dream big, but live colossal. Because colossal just means extremely large. So extremely large life is what we're trying to live. So when you wear it as colossal, just remember you're just being extremely large in life, baby, because you already are. So you should have a whole bag full of that. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what it's about. So I would just tell people to just, when you're out here in community, remember that what you do in community is what's going to go ahead and receive from somebody else, and it's going to go over and over. So just make sure you just stay true to yourself. If you're being true to yourself, then things usually work out for the best. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
big step in energy only.
Absolutely.
Sasquatch.
So now this is going down August 30th, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. over at the grocery outlet in Skyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's free.
It's free. Well, yes, it's definitely free, but there's gonna be some people selling something, so you make sure you spend a little money with them too.
Well, don't just go grabbing shirts off tables now.
Please make sure that they have free stuff for you. We don't want no tension.
Is there anywhere that you want for people to go for more information, or would you like them just to show up and catch a vibe?
You can just go on to my website, bettervisionoutreach.org, and just check out the event played. I'm pretty sure they're seeing it. The ones that are coming, they're going to come anyway. And then for you guys that don't know, like I said, make sure you guys stick messing with Converge, because they always got the information.
Absolutely.
Promise you that, always.
Well, shoot, with that being said, Rob, I want to thank you for tapping in with us, giving us all the information on your back to school drive. Like, I just love that people are doing this, because I remember when I was in school, sometimes getting all those supplies, it gets a little expensive for parents, you know? And so this makes it a lot easier for parents to be able to do what they need to do for their kids, while also getting, you know, teeth cleaning and other things of that nature. Now, we are going to go to a quick break, but we have a commercial about your event, right?
Right.
So what we are going to do is we are going to go take this break, but in this break, you are going to get a sneak peek at what you have in store for you on August 30th, okay?
Right.
So, of course, you're watching Almost the Weekend.
A Better Vision Outreach and United Business Connections present the 4th annual Back to School function, happening Saturday, August 30th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. We've got free haircuts for the kiddos, backpacks, school supplies, food, clothing, live performances, and a live DJ you won't want to miss. Plus, each child will leave with a brand new backpack filled with essential school supplies.
Can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm your co-host, Curtis Delgardo, aka Cuddy, and this is the Artist Corner. And this week on the Artist Corner, we're highlighting my brother, Mafi D. Now, I know we've highlighted bro before, but this week, Imagine has went viral as it has been featured on Back on Fig podcast out of LA. And bro has been selected to be working with producer Steels and artist G Perico. So, you know, that's a big win for Seattle. So shout out to bro, and shout out for that connection being able to be made from Seattle to Cali. And so we got a quick little video here recapping, you know, everybody's reaction on the podcast to the new single, Imagine.
Really not a fan of it. I don't want no Don Julio, I can't imagine it. I don't want no Don Julio, I can't imagine it. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots more. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3. Man, pour me up a shot, pour me up a shot, pour me up a shot. They say I drink a lot. Should I get a shot? I think I need a shot. I feel it at the top, man. Maybe I should stop. Yeah. You know, I always promote drinking responsibly, but you might not be able to do that with me.
Yeah. That's what we needed. Turn it up. Hey, what's his name? I'm about to follow this.
Started back, baby.
What's his name? I'm going to follow.
Mafi D, man, he came through, bro.
Mafi D, all right, bro.
From Seattle, shame on you, came through.
No cap.
Shout out Seattle, man.
And if you haven't heard that, make sure to go out on all music platforms, whether that's Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, wherever you get your music at, and type in Imagine at Mafi D. And so Imagine is spelled with a 6 instead of a G. But yeah, so tap in and catch a vibe. And like I said, shout out to bro. It's also was his birthday earlier this week. So if you see him out in the streets, make sure to wish him a happy birthday. And that's the Artist Corner for this week. We'll be taking a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be tapping in with Ashley and Besa, getting them back on set, and you're watching Almost the Weekend.
Listen up, Puget Sound.
This is a call to my fellow Black business owners.
It's your girl, Besa Gordon.
It's your boy, Eric Calligraphy, and I know times are tough out here.
Especially for our restaurants, dude. I already know you're feeling the weight.
But let me be clear, we're not going to stand by and watch our community struggle.
Here at Back to Besa and Converge Media, we know Black businesses are the heartbeat of our community.
We bring the culture, the flavor, and the soul, and we need you to keep on thriving.
We need you. So that's why we're opening our platforms to you. Whether it's telling your story, shining a light on your challenges, grabbing resources for you to know about. Dude, we even want to help bring more customers through your doors.
Man, we got you. Are you a restaurant owner trying to keep your lights on? A new business fighting to make your mark? Whatever your story, we want to hear it and help.
In order to make that happen, we need for you to head on over to whereweconverge.com/support Black business and let us know what's happening. Let Back to Besa and Converge Media amplify your voice and help drive traffic to your business.
Man, don't wait. Converge Media is here to uplift Black business in the Puget Sound. So man, make sure you visit whereweconverge.com/support Black business, and let's rise together.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Curtis Delgardo.
And right now, we are going to learn a little bit about, well, how you can get your apartment or house feng shui right, make it look good to where you don't feel like you just only have a couch and a rug in there. Okay, but on a budget so you don't feel like you have to break the bank, all right? Right now, we are being joined by my girl, Ashley. Look at her.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. Wonderful.
Now, okay, this is obviously, well, not obviously, this is not your first time here at the Black Media Matters studio.
No.
However, this is my first time talking with you about what you do, which is basically beautify spaces.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into designing, like interior designing?
I grew up in one of those, I grew up as a child, I kind of had to make spaces wherever I was. And so, you know, if that was at my aunt's, or if that was at my grandma's, or if that was at my mom's, or at my dad's, wherever I was, my sister's, wherever I was one of those kids that I'm just gonna make myself comfortable. And I did that, and it started with, you know, I would go in and see a chair, and I'm like, I don't like that there. And I would move people's chairs and move people's stuff, and then they'll realize, hey, I didn't even think to put that there. And I'm like 10, and I'm like, well, it makes sense. And so later on in life, my grandfather passed away, and I was about 16, and my grandmother decided she wanted to revamp her house. They had been moved here from Louisiana and had lived in that house for over 40, 50 years. And she decided, you know what, it's about time to make the space, you know, different. He would have wanted that for me. And, but she decided she didn't want to do it. And so that was my first time meeting with contractors and going to Sears at the time, if y'all know, I'm kind of aging myself, but going to Sears and JCPenney's and picking out drapes and rugs and things like that. And we transformed our house, and that was my first time, and I fell in love.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So since then, and I feel like just about all the kids have, I used to go to Sears and JCPenney's, depending on your age, story with mom and auntie and everybody else.
Yep.
And I used to get like lost in the, well, I didn't actually get lost. I just liked running through the rugs. It was kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a weird fascination. But in doing that, you've started a business.
I
to
did.
Where you are now beautifying homes and helping people with different sets and their apartments. What we wanted to bring you here today to talk about is how to do that on a budget.
Yes. And oftentimes, a lot of my clients, that is their first thing that they ask me is, I want my space to be my space, but I don't have a lot of money to do so. And I like to tell my clients and just people in general when I do consulting is that a lot of times you don't have to break the bank. Some things are simple and they're cost effective, and it makes a big difference if you do it. So, yeah.
So what are some things that people can put in their homes that they might not necessarily think of?
So I work with a lot of clients, and this is, I like to do renter friendly because not everyone owns a home. And so, but your space should be your space. It's your sanctuary. So any space that you're in, you should make it your own. The first thing I like to tell people that they could do is add an accent wall, paint. Paint is the easiest way to transform a space and the most cost effective. You can go to Lowe's and get a gallon of paint for $25. Depending on where you go, you can go on Facebook Marketplace, anything. They're giving away paint sometimes. But that's a great cost-effective way to transform a wall or just add some pizzazz. Also, wallpaper is another thing. I love wallpaper. With renters, we always like to do peel and stick. You put it on and it comes right off, and yeah, it changes a room dramatically. So that's the first thing I would say, and the most cost-effective thing you could do to transform a space. Second is to add in greenery. Plants. Plants are easy. You can almost get a plant from anywhere. Sometimes it's free. You know, go outside and pick a leaf, put it somewhere. But plants give a room freshness, but it also helps with your air quality. So if you are a person that lives in a stuffy space or wherever the case may be, plants have a enzyme or whatever the case, I don't know the scientific term for it, but it does help purify your air for you. So and pots are easy too. You can easily go anywhere and grab a pot and just stick it in there. Vases, Goodwill, one of your aunts, I'm pretty sure they may have a pot just hanging in the backyard. Grab it, put a plant in it, and easily transform a little corner. Decor, pillows. Add some pillows. A lot of people buy couches from like big box stores, and that's all they have. If you add a few throw pillows, it can dramatically change the space. And they have different textures, fur and leather and suede and all these velvet, but all these textures add a cozy element to your space and also brings in color and depth, things like that. And a rug. I would always say have a rug. Same thing, if you live in a smaller space, a rug is going to add dimension, is going to give a softness to the space, especially if you have like hardwood floors or things like that. And it's gonna help with, people don't know, but if you have a studio space or something like that, usually you have echoes and things like that. Rugs help balance that out. And so not all your neighbors are hearing all your business. So that helps. And drapes. Drapes are a good thing. That's something that people don't know that can instantly change a space. You can see the difference from just having a window that's just there versus putting on some drapes, and it'll drastically make your room look 20 times better just by adding some window treatments up there. And lighting. Lighting's also, a lot of renters don't know, but you can change your lighting out. You don't have to stick with the boob light, as we call it. There's lots of different options. And there's you can always switch out your light. I always say, like, if you switch it out, just make sure you keep all of the fixture, the old fixture that's there, make sure you keep it, and somewhere, so when it's time to go, you can easily put it back. But it's going to instantly change the ambiance of the room. And now they have so many renter-friendly options. now that you can have wall sconces that literally just plug into the wall. You could just hang it, plug it to the wall, and also overhead lighting. All you do, if you have anything that screws in, they have these versions that it's like a light bulb. It's a lighting fixture, just screws in like a light bulb, and there you go. It changes your whole dynamic of the room. And something simple as if you don't want to go that dramatic, just change the bulb itself. Don't have hospital lights in your house.
Right.
You know, you can easily just get, I love putting soft lights. It's called a soft white bulb, and they instantly give you like a serene feel to your home. And that's what your home should be like, your place of peace. And yeah, I think the last thing I would do is if you have a small space, add mirrors. Mirrors bring in light. So if you don't have a lot of light, and you don't want to do the whole lighting fixtures or things like that, just add a big mirror and put it in the corner, and it'll reflect light and make the space look 10 times bigger if you do have a smaller space. And yeah, those are my tips.
So like, considering accent walls, pots, plants, rugs, everything that you named, so with that being said, what are some trending like color schemes that's been sticking out, or like just general items you've seen people like adding to, like, you know, swag out their crib?
So crazy thing is I say color, but actually white is actually very much a color scheme, or non-existent, I should say. But a lot of people are going minimal and white and just having, say, just one big art piece on the wall, which I also recommend that as well. Art pieces definitely help change the room, and I always say go big, don't do small. The larger the art piece, the more enhanced it makes your space, and the more luxurious it makes your space. I always tell people, think about a television size. Think about that, and it's really inexpensive to add art to a wall. You can easily just print off Etsy. Decenio, I love that, and I think the prints no more than about $20-25. Go get it, and you can either get it printed from the source itself, or go to Kinko's or FedEx, and they'll blow it up and get you like a cheap frame off of Amazon and put it up, and that's a good way to add art and to your space. As far as colors, I would say a lot of people are going back to like reds. So red has been a very trending color. I think it's the color of the year, something like that. Greens are really in, and it's going dark. So very moody colors are in these days. So yeah, I'm seeing that, and yeah, a lot of people are doing. If they're not doing that, then also they're doing what we like to call trying to think of the right term for it, but it's resort type space. People are wanting to feel like they're home, or they're home away from home. So they're bringing those resort looks and the woods and Tulum and all those type of looks into your home and adding that to their spaces. Yeah.
And then any advice for sprucing up a bathroom space?
A bathroom space. The one thing I like to tell people is switch out your regular shower curtain for a regular curtain. Hang it up as high as you can. I do this anytime I do a bathroom. I always do that. It makes your bathroom look bigger. So if you get about a 90-inch, 98-inch curtain, and just put it on a rod, and then put your regular shower curtain behind it and hook it in. If you hang it up high, the higher you put it, it's gonna give your bathroom an instant like spa feel and just make it feel very luxurious and a lot bigger than what it is.
Yeah. And then my question would be like, where do you recommend people shop for some of these amazing items, especially if they're like, look, I got $500 to make something look like something and not just two things in my apartment and some dishes?
So it depends. Now, if you are, I'm a DIY girly, so I do that. So if that's you and you like to put a little elbow grease in things, I always recommend going to like your local Goodwill, Salvation Army. There's so many things on those platforms that you can actually find that are sometimes, if you look it up, you could go in and find a cabinet or a table that could be from West Elm or RH or whatever those big box stores. You can get it for $25 if you just go there. Maybe a little scuffed up, need a little care, but that's something. Facebook Marketplace. I love Facebook Marketplace. I have been addicted lately. I've been addicted. But yeah, Facebook Marketplace, people sometimes are just giving away great stuff. They're moving, they don't have space for it. They're going through different, life things, and they just want to get rid of things. So sometimes you can find some really, really great pieces for cheap or for free. So that's a good thing. And, our good friend Amazon. Amazon, I'm an Amazonian all day long. You can find everything that you need on Amazon. I tell people you find your kidney if you wanted to. But yeah, Amazon has great deals, and I love it. And sometimes you don't, and sometimes you could just shop your own house. You'd be surprised at things that you have just lying around your house that you never thought that, hey, I tell people there's something you could switch out is, say if you have a really nice vase, and instead of putting your cookware, those utensils in a regular basket, find a vase, stick it in there, and put it in your kitchen. It'll instantly change the whole look of your kitchen by just doing that. So there are different little things. Just shop around your house, change out pillows. You never know where you could, you may have something in a bedroom or a closet that you just didn't like, or whatever the case may be. Just switch it out and change things around. So, yeah.
I like it. It also sounds like people should just not overthink putting their places together.
No, your space should be your space. I tell everybody, your space is your space. It should uniquely fit you. And if I come into your space, I always like to say, if I come into your space, I should know you before you even speak to me. Just by looking around, by your art, by your pictures, by the type of colors that you have, or the type of patterns that you use. That lets me know a lot about who you are and the things you like, and just your personality, just in that quick little glimpse of just seeing how you live.
Nice. Well, shoot, Ashley, I want to thank you for joining us. How can people hire you, work with you, or get some more advice from you? Consultation?
I am online. You can find me on Instagram, life_design by Ashley. That is on my Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. A. McCurdy Design Firm, www.amccurdydesignfirm.com. That's where my website, and you can easily book an appointment through there, or just email me. Same thing, amccurdydesignfirm@gmail.com.
Awesome sauces. Well, shoot, make sure you guys take these tips. I know I will. I have some DIY things. As a matter of fact, before you leave, I might have to ask you how to use, I got an electric gun thing, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. And I have these metal things that are supposed to be hung on my wall. It's a nice design, but it says that you have to use that. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to mess this up. So we're going to talk.
Let's talk.
In the meantime, between time, Cuddy, it's time for another break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we are going to be joined by Mike Dugar. Of course, it's almost the weekend.
What's up, everybody? It's your guy, DJ OG1, co-founder of PDX Hip Hop Week, and it is our 10-year anniversary, y'all. Going down August 20th through the 26th, Portland, Oregon, and we have an amazing lineup of events, everything from skating parties to hip-hop bingo, all the way to our annual Star Awards going down at the Reeser Center for the Arts. You don't want to miss it. For details, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Curtis Delgardo.
And right now we have a very, very special guest here. Man, I've known this kid since he was in 7th grade, okay? And I would say I'm aging myself, but I was let's see, we were on the same step team. I think I was a sophomore in high school, so it wasn't like I was in college or anything. Either who, he is definitely like a little brother to me, and I'm super duper proud that he has officially dropped his new book. The title is lengthy, so let me get it right. The franchise, Seattle Seahawks, the curated history of the Legion of Boom era. welcome Michael. Well, I call him Mike, but it says Michael Sean Dugar. Child, they put their whole government on here.
Government is crazy.
I've never called you Michael before.
I know. I'm a guy with the hyphenated first name. It's
man.
It's real trippy. It's real black, actually. But I'll take it though. I'll take it though. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being here. And one, just starting it off, bro, like just talk to, how does it feel to be a published author, bro? To really have a physical book right here that you can say is mine and I wrote it.
It's really a surreal feeling, you know, in a lot of ways. And it really didn't even hit me until I got the advanced copies from the publisher. And they came in the box and I opened it and I was like, yo, I did that.
Right.
Like that's me. And it was something I couldn't focus on that much. I had a lot going on this year. I bought a house this year. I had my son.
Congrats on that.
I think 2 weeks before the book dropped. So it wasn't until I had my son, he was born July 30th, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now I can focus on my book drop.
Right.
You know, and to see our last name on there, my family's last name on there, that's probably the coolest thing about it. Because now I'll for some way, somehow be associated with this era of Seattle sports history, you know, right under a picture of the Lombardi Trophy, you know, forever, you know, with Doug Baldwin's name on the forward, you know, that really means a lot. Before you even open the book, you just see my name, you know, my family name in particular. I'm real big on that. You know, this chain that I'm wearing has my uncle's ashes in it. You know, this watch that I'm wearing is my uncle's watch. You know, I have my late cousin's face tattooed on me. Like, I'm a big keep your family with you, keep them alive as long as possible. You know, I gave my son my late cousin's middle name. You know, like my cousin's middle name was my cousin's first name was my son's middle name. You know, like I'm a big family guy. Is the short version of that. So just like to have a Dugar book, you know, something everybody in Dugar can be proud of, you know, from my kids to grandkids to all that's gonna live forever, connected to something, you know, significant and important. Yeah, that means the world.
And even the ones that came before you, they can look back and just know that, hey, my little cousin, my nephew, you know, is doing big things and keeping the name alive. And just, it honestly aligns with the team that we had, like that era of sports that we're talking about with the Seahawks franchise and just those personalities that were on that team. Like that was one big family, and definitely something that we've like viewed Pete Carroll to push too. So it's definitely alignment with exactly what you got going. And before we dive into the book, let's talk about like kind of how you guys started with working with the Seahawks in the first place.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to be, you know, on TV, you know, on First Take, yelling at Stephen A. Smith, just like Skip Bayless was. They were real hot when I was in college at Washington State. They were the thing. They were yelling about Tebow and Johnny Manziel. Every morning I'm going to class, I'm like, I want to do that. You know, and then I realized that to do that, typically you need to be a really established print journalist at a newspaper where Dallas Morning News, LA Times, Washington Post, like all those guys, like Skip, like Stephen A., those guys, they're talking heads now, but they were in the trenches, you know, so to speak, as print journalists. So I said, if that's what it takes, then that's what I'll do. I talked to my English teacher in college, and he was like, yo, you should write for the student paper. You know, that just to hear him feel like I could do that was really cool. I wrote for the student paper at Franklin High School, go Quakers, but it just felt different to do it at a college level. And then I really grinded my way to be somebody writing about pro football. I was writing about 8-man football in Northern Idaho. You know, I've written about high school wrestling in Northern Idaho, tennis, hockey, swimming. I can't even swim. You know, like I've done it all. So like I have a real big appreciation for the path that it took me to get here. I started writing about the Seahawks in 2017. I started writing about them for The Athletic in 2018. That's when I started traveling as well. I go to every game, whether it's in London, whether it's in Munich, Atlanta. You know, after we film this right now, I'm going to Green Bay, you know, tomorrow. I got a flight at 6 a.m. So like I've been grinding on this for a little bit. And I think all those years of storytelling at the smallest level, high school football, where they don't even have enough kids to field an 11-on-11 team, it really allowed me to master the art of storytelling. Because that's really what, you know, a book is, obviously, but it's one thing to just take a story that everyone is familiar with, like, you know, Russell Wilson's story or Richard Sherman's story or any big person's story. When I'm writing about a kid playing high school wrestling at Pullman High School, no one knows him. There's no Wikipedia for me to refresh on. You need to know how to do your research. You need to know who to go to talk to, how to ask questions, how to take notes. You know, you got to really use your eyes and your ears, you know, and be observant. And all that grinding work, when I got to the Seahawks, it was like second nature. It's like, I can write about Richard Sherman. I can write about Marshawn Lynch because I did the work. It's almost like boot camp, basically, for a writer. So yeah, from Pullman and Northern Idaho, you know, straight back to my hometown in Seattle.
Absolutely. And so, like, considering that work, you know, that grind, meeting the dream for real, what was like that actual moment that was that transition from, like, you know, you're doing your stories in Pullman, like, what was that first event that happened that landed you like in the doors of the Seahawks?
And I owe a lot to Steve Cohen. I succeeded him at the Seattle PI. Steve's also one of the people who gave me an excerpt on the back of the book. He got hired at The Athletic in 2018, and after working together with him in 2017, when it was his job to hire people to cover the Huskies, the Mariners, the Sounders, he had to tab someone for each sport. When they said, "You got a Seahawks guy in mind?" Boom. He said my name. You know, he spoke my name when I wasn't around in a positive way. And people who do that, no matter what capacity, that's always going to mean a lot to me. So I got that call in 2018. They said, "You're our guy," you know. And again, that meant a lot. Just to be back home, you know, Pullman ain't a lot of us in Pullman, you know.
Right.
So
Exactly.
be back home, seeing my family. You know, you don't got to schedule visiting your family. You know, when you're away, it's like, oh, I just want to go see my auntie today. Let me just pull up. You know, Steve, shout out to Steve Cohen again. Like, he gave me the opportunity to do that. He believed in me that I could go from covering small high school football or University of Idaho soccer to the biggest sport in America.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and I feel like this is probably in the book, so maybe like you don't want to say this, but I'm just curious and to know, what is one thing that you heard in that locker room during the Legion of Boom that you feel like you wasn't supposed to hear?
There's quite a bit, actually, but I think there's not one anecdote that stands out. It's mainly an overall sentiment. There's a recurring theme within the book is how the players felt about Russell Wilson. You know, on the outside looking in, like I said, I travel quite a bit. I'm all over the world and all over the country. When I tell people I'm from Seattle, what's one of the first things they say? Oh, Russell Wilson. They talk about how great he is. His image is pretty squeaky clean. You know, he's the family man. He's got his kids and his wife. Shoot, he's taking care of somebody else's kid. You know, he's never in the news for anything bad, no arrests, no anything. And then you hear the people who go to war with him every Sunday, like, I don't like that cat. Right. I just don't like how he gets down. And they have all of these reasons. You know, it's not like just one or two things. And that was really eye-opening for me to hear those conversations on and off the record about the best quarterback in Seahawks history, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a guy who goes to the children's hospital on his day off to visit sick kids. I'm like, yo, what do you mean you don't like this guy? But they had their reasons. And yeah, those reasons are in the book. But if you don't have to be around the Seahawks that long to learn how guys felt about him. And not to say I agree or disagree with how they felt. It really just is their feelings at the end of the day. But that was probably the most alarming or shocking thing to get there. You know, I'm from here. You know, I grew up here. You know, so I show up in 2017. I'm thinking Russ is damn near the mayor of the team, you know, pretty much. And I show up and it's like, no, this is a Marshawn-led team. This is a defense-led team. That guy is over there. He's cool, but we built this thing, you know, and they loved Pete as well. So there was a million anecdotes and small stories, some of which could be printed, some couldn't, because I'd be printing some Love and Hip Hop Seahawks, basically, if I ran some of the stuff. But I think the gist is, the point has gotten across in the book. That was really the main sentiment is, no, what you think outside of the building, that this guy would be just this universally loved figure, is not. And I finished that to say, it's not just because he threw an interception in the Super Bowl. That's bad, but that isn't the sole reason. When I learned that, I was like, wow, this is kind of like real world Seahawks a little bit.
Yeah, it's those grudges that you talked about in the book. And I think that what's interesting is on the outside, you think that the Seahawks are just one big happy family. Like, it seems like it's that one team where everyone gets along. It's like a big brotherhood, like everyone loves each other. But within your book, you're just kind of like, yeah, you know, there was a lot of topsy-turvy moments in there that they just didn't talk about. And they kind of just put it aside, but did what they had to do in the field.
Yeah, one thing, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child, but I have people who I grew up with that are like my brothers and sisters, Besa being one of them, as she alluded to. Like, but there's that familial bond that most of us can recognize, even if you don't have siblings. Like, the Seahawks were like, they were almost like, you know, if you slapbox your little brother or your little sister in the backyard, you know, just so you know that if we go to the mall and somebody got smoke with us, we're gonna handle ourselves and we're gonna get back home. Because that's the thing. Your parents are gonna know, hey, where's such and such if you come back by yourself or you come back with no black eye, you know. The Seahawks were like that. They went to war at practice. They went to war. Because Pete Carroll made clear, the guy who's pushing you the hardest Monday through Saturday is the guy you should love the most, because he's getting you ready for Sunday. And sometimes that crossed the line a little bit, as it can do in the backyard. Like, yo, you slapped me too hard. Hey, what you mean? Why you suplex me? We said everything from the neck up. You know, they really were like a family in that way. And like people who have families, whether it's siblings, cousins, whatever, it get ugly sometimes. You got that uncle that won't shut up, the cousin that always got attitude, you know, the auntie that always late. There's just something, you know. The Seahawks had all of that and then some, and they were all these people from these different walks of life that had this common goal, but we're all still a product of our upbringings. So you bring in somebody from Compton like Richard Sherman, somebody from Orange, Texas, somebody from Norfolk, Virginia like Cam. Russell was also from Virginia, Brandon Browner from LA. Like they had all these guys, Doug Baldwin from Pensacola, Florida. They all came from these different walks of life, and they were just raised different in some ways. They had different views of loyalty and honesty and transparency and accountability, and they were habitual line steppers. But they knew that when they went to war on Sunday, everybody had each other's back. And I think that's what's so powerful about everyone knows when they do their pregame huddle was who's got my back. Right. That was real. That was real. Because they know they had each other's back. Right. I was kicking your back in Monday through Saturday at practice, but now on Sunday, I know you have my back. Right. And that was something really powerful about that, and I'm glad I got to chronicle that in the book.
Which really leads me to one of my next questions is just like speaking about some of those team battles in practice or in the locker room, just like how you said, considering all those personalities on both sides of the ball. Like, is there any like stories or specific battles that stood out to you? Like I know Marshawn spoke about him and Earl getting into it on his Got podcast, and you know one day they almost fought. Like, is there anything that you saw and you was like, whoa, today was crazy at work?
Yeah, I think, man,
today was crazy
at
work.
No, there's been a lot. My first training camp in 2017, they were doing a pass rush drill between the offensive and defensive linemen, and it got carried away, and it started a brawl. I'm talking full-on swinging. Michael Bennett's in there punching, Cliff Avril's in there punching, and Jermaine Ifedi, one of the offensive linemen at the time, he lost his helmet in the scuffle, and they separated everybody just like, you know, you would do, break up the fight. Frank Clark was not done yet. He was still ready to roll. Frank saw Jermaine with his helmet off and just sized him up and cracked him in the face as hard as I've ever seen someone be punched in my life. Jermaine was down for several minutes. Wow. You know, Frank's 6'4", 255-ish. Jermaine's like 6'5", like 320, and he didn't get up for like 5 minutes. It's like, oh my, like the Simba meme, like, yo, wake him up. Like it was, it was bad. And then they were all, that took a little bit longer for them to be cool the next day, but stuff like that I've later learned would happen all the time. And then they'd be fine the next day. You know, I even see it now when I'm out of practice every day. You get guys just MFing each other and all this stuff, telling guys they ain't nothing and they suck and all this stuff. And then they get in the locker room. I love you. Yeah, laughing. I'm having a foundation event. I'm throwing a football fest for some kids in my hometown. You coming? Like, yo, I'm about to go eat. You want something? Like, oh, your kid's having a birthday? I'm pulling up. Me and the wife, he's pulling up. Like, it really was some of the wildest stuff I've ever seen with guys who would just push that line and just be cool the next day. I give you one story too that Pete told me for the book. I got to talk to him. Shout out to Pete Carroll as well. One day, Doug and Sherm were just going at it in ways he was just like, this is unhealthy. So he called a team meeting, and he walked into the meeting, and everybody was sitting down, and Doug and Sherm were sitting right next to each other, like nothing happened. And Pete was like, you know what? Never mind. Like,
cancel the meeting.
Yeah, clearly y'all are okay. I thought you guys were just about to kill each other, but clearly you guys are fine. Like that really, it was that relationship. It toes the line quite a bit. But yeah, there was a lot of that, and I got a really big dose of it that first time I saw Frank. I'm pretty sure break Jermaine Ifedi's nose at practice.
That is crazy. And then like one thing I also wanted to speak on, especially just considering a lot of personalities and everything like that, like with sports and the superstars that they birth, we know that they can like have an impact on community and everything like that. And so how would you say the development of the LOB changed like the culture for Seattle itself?
Yeah, I think Seattle in the larger sports context is an underdog city, you know, compared to like a Boston or an LA, you know, New York, you know, cities that have more teams and just more championships in general. The Seattle Storm are really holding it down for pro sports, you know, in Seattle, where they got 4 championships compared to 1 for the Seahawks. The Sonics have 1 before any of us were born. And then you have the Mariners who've never even been to the World Series, right? So you kind of get this underdog sense that like, oh, we're not talked about enough. We're slept on in the national context of sports. And the Legion of Boom didn't accept that. They said, we are the favorites. We're the dogs. Forget the under part. We're the dogs. Sherm was a dog. Earl was a dog. Cam was a dog. Marshawn was a dog. And I think that was very important for the city to have. That lovable underdog thing it's not going to get you nowhere with consistency. Like, that'll get you into the spotlight, but if you want to stay there, you got to act like you belong there.
Right.
And the Legion of Boom felt like they belonged, well before they did, to be clear. But when they got there, I think that kind of galvanized people in a way, whether they realized it or not, consciously or unconsciously, that made them feel something. Like, we're the baddest defensive backs in the world. Like, when Sherm said, I'm the best corner in the game, I like to say he was speaking for a city. Like, we are the best right now. We're on top. And that was before they won the Super Bowl, obviously. And I think that matters quite a bit, because like you get people like who go into the Hall of Fame or get acknowledgement from outside or that are from Seattle in the larger context. We're seeing it now. Griffey's in the Hall of Fame. Ichiro just got in. Sue Bird just got a statue.
Right.
Like, people matter here, but there's always this sense that we're not getting enough love outside.
And
the Legion of Boom demanded that. They earned it. They demanded it. They let you know about it. And I think that was very unique to them. You know, it wasn't like, you can ignore us anymore. The Legion of Boom could not be ignored. And it kind of made it feel like Seattle couldn't be ignored. You had every magazine coming here to feature Russell and the Legion of Boom. You know, Sherm was on the cover of Madden. You know, like, you just couldn't ignore Seattle. And I think that's important, because we can't kind of get lost, whether it's in entertainment or sports or music, you know, and the Legion of Boom created something that put Seattle on the map.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, and the voices and Richard Sherman and all that, so who would you say was like that voice of reason, or like the leader amongst the Legion of Boom?
I think the vocal leader was Richard Sherman, obviously, but I think the kind of the spiritual leader was Cam Chancellor, because when you have someone who's just out, like the Bobby Brown of the group, essentially, you kind of do need someone to bring it back in a little bit. Like, everybody just can't be Bobby, right? And like, Bobby can't always be our front man, right, for obvious reasons. And Cam kind of brought them back to center. Like, everyone listened to Cam. Like, Sherm could talk, but I don't think everyone on the defense or on the offense was like listening and heeding his word. If Cam spoke, it mattered, you know, because he put a premium on his voice in a way Sherm would go on TV. And now he has a podcast now. Like, he was very destined to have a voice. Whereas, as you can see, Cam he ain't done nothing but he opened the Legion, and that's it. That's it. He ain't said nothing. He'll make some TikToks when they got new mac and cheese, but that's it. You know, he don't talk. So I think it was Sherm. And Sherm, what I want to do in the book, he's a perfect example of like adding context to a character. Like, his introduction to the world was calling out Tom Brady in 2012, changing his Twitter name to Optimus Prime when they went against Megatron and the Lions in 2012, you know, telling Crabtree he sucked. Like, all of these things. But if you go back to it, Sherman's been like that his whole life. You know, he's been like that since the T-ball instructor told him he was too small to play when he was like 3. Like, what do you mean I can't play? I'm Richard Sherman. I can do this. You get told that and have that mindset when you're 3. Now imagine somebody thinking they can throw a touchdown on you to win the NFC Championship. Right. Of course you're going to erupt. But I think we need that context. Like I said, we're all a product of our stories. And that's part of Sherm's story. And that's the context I wanted to provide in the book.
Absolutely.
Why do you feel, and not even why, let me go back to this whole Legion of Boom thing. What was the moment, because you're, in my opinion, I'm on the outside. So I see them making moves, doing their boom thing, you know, everyone is excited. But you're on the inside, so you hear their frustrations, you hear what they're saying about what the news is saying about them and the other sports anchors, et cetera. What was the moment that you were like, oh, it's working?
Yeah, you know, what's working for the team?
Yeah, it's working for the team, but they're gaining the love and the respect of everyone else that they actually wanted and deserved.
Yeah, I think winning the Super Bowl by 35 points definitely helped. But I think, you know, what's fascinating about that is it was in 2 parts. So the defense, they got their respect. They got all pro votes and Pro Bowls. And again, they won the Super Bowl by 35 points. They were on the cover, I think, of Sports Illustrated, Legion of Boom. And so they got their just due, you know, whereas it's fascinating on offense. And this goes a little bit back to why they felt the way about Russell. The receivers just couldn't get any respect. Kurt Warner called them pedestrian. Deion Sanders, in an interview at the Super Bowl, sat down with Doug Baldwin and told him to his face, you're not like that for real. Like, you're not somebody that the other defense will put their best corner on and follow you all game. Like, he told that to his face, and Doug sat there, he's like, I love you, man. Like, I respect you, I disagree, blah, blah, blah. And Deion was like, yeah, it's cool, it's nothing personal, you're just not that good. You know, and that was while he was at his 2nd Super Bowl, Doug was, you know. And of course, their best cornerback followed him the entire game, so Deion was wrong. But I bring that up to say, I don't think the guys on offense ever felt like they got their just due. I think they felt like Russell got too much.
Right.
And that kind of created some resentment, you know, whereas they thought they were fueled by Marshawn Lynch and how good they were as pass catchers and, you know, how much they loved each other. Meanwhile, this guy's on the Wheaties box. You know, this guy throws 4 interceptions in the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, then gets the interview on Fox, you know, on the field, and is memorable forever because he's crying out there with the NFC Championship shirt on. They're all like, wait a minute. He threw 4 picks. What's going on? Not to say they hated the guy, but I think that how the national media perceived them and the fact that they didn't get their just due was a big part of the story for the offense. Whereas on defense, they were like, yeah, defense got a nickname. You get a nickname, it's all marketable. You know, I went over to London in 2018. Like those guys, they're gonna live forever. You know, the Seahawks are the biggest team over in Germany. I went there in 2022. That's because of Legion of Boom. They got their just due, but there's no nickname for Doug Baldwin and Jermaine Kearse and Golden Tate and Sidney Rice. They're the receivers that were on the team, you know, and I think that is what fueled them for so long and ultimately what brought the whole thing down. But I think that's almost, I'm glad you asked that. It's almost part of the story as well. One side got their just due, the other side did not. And that, I think, is why, you know, they didn't win more Super Bowls and have longer sustained success like we probably think they should have.
Absolutely.
I think my other question was the connection that they had when they were on the field. Do you feel that was a connection because they would actually push each other so hard during practice, and then they'd be able to push that line, but then go to the back and still be able to say, I love you? Because there were things that would happen on the field, and I'd be like, I don't even feel like that was a play. I just feel like you felt that they were going to do that, and it worked. And to where, you know, nowadays we have these new seasons of new players and people are just hoping and praying that we'll get another Legion of Boom type. I mean, obviously you can't replicate that, but people just kind of hope for that vibe to happen again. But I almost feel like that connection that they had was magical, to where if they all weren't on the field at the same time, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I think so one thing I get asked a lot these days since I wrote the book is like, do I see any commonalities between the current iteration of the Seahawks defense and the previous one? And I just don't think that we'll ever have a Legion of Boom because of what you mentioned of how much they cared about each other, how much they knew about each other. You know, it's weird. I think we're in the information age where we all know too much about each other, just generally. But like there is something to be said for knowing the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis and knowing what's their why. Like, why are they doing this? Particularly in something as physical as football. You talk to these guys about what Monday morning feels like, it's the worst thing in the world. You got wives helping them go to the bathroom, you know, before work. Like, they can't get out of bed. They can't lift their kids because they done separated their shoulder the day before, you know, like, but then they'll go do it again the next Sunday. Well, why? Because they know the guy next to them will too. He'll get the Toradol shot. He'll pop the pain pills. He'll do whatever. He'll do the treatment. You know, he'll walk around with a sprained MCL or, you know, broken ligament or torn ligament somewhere because he knows that you'll do the same thing. And there's just power in that. And I think the other part that was so unique, there's two that will never be replicated with these guys. One is like good and bad. We're kind of in a mental health consciousness in sports, particularly with black men in sports. I think that we just weren't before. Like before, it was more comfortable, I think, 10 years ago to say, oh, you're angry because you didn't get enough hugs? Go hit someone on the field and make a lot of money and you'll be okay. It's like, no, that's super unhealthy, but it worked for that team, you know? Like a lot of those guys were channeling childhood traumas and being really good at football. That was great for the team, but that's pretty unhealthy as a general thought. And I think now if that's what guys were to admit was their why, you know, we'd just get them a therapist and they wouldn't catch as many touchdowns. But I think the other thing that really helped is that they were all in the same place in life. Like Sherm was single when he got here. Cam was single when he got here. None of them had any kids. You know, Earl had a girlfriend but didn't have any kids at the time. Like Brandon Browner, all these guys. Brandon had kids, but he was still like a young man. Like I think they all grew together. I think that's important as well. You know, the older we get, you know, sometimes you just have this deepest connection to the people who like were in the same place in their life as you know, for better or worse. So I think that was something that's hard to recreate because players get hurt, guys get traded, blah, blah, blah. Like the Legion of Boom was acquired over the course of just 2 years, the secondary, just 2 seasons. That's it. You know, so you got all guys who are in their mid-20s, all single, all bored on a Friday night. Let's go play some darts, you know, like, oh, let's go hang out in the off season. It's hard to get that, you know, now and get it channeled right and everyone stays healthy. So I think there was a lot of factors that makes the Legion of Boom unique, both on and off the field, that we'll just never see that again. Even if we see a defense that's statistically as good, I don't think the bonds can ever just be as strong.
Right. And then just hearing the mindset, the uniqueness, the environment of just that team and overall just locker room and atmosphere, how do you feel like that like rubbed off on you when you approached like your journalism when it came to writing about those players and just overall just expression of your craft in general?
Yeah, I think I always knew that humanizing the subjects was important, but it just took it to a new level here. I think in particular, a name that a lot of people wouldn't probably associate with getting a lot of ink in the book is Brandon Browner. Like Brandon went through quite a bit. He was one of those guys channeling childhood trauma into football because that's what people told him his whole life he was going to be good at, and they were right, obviously. But then what happened when Brandon didn't have that outlet? Well, he ended up doing a bit in prison for attempted murder.
At what cost? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not surprising at all. Anybody who knew Brandon growing up in Pacoima in California, like, yeah, that makes sense. He didn't have football anymore. Well, we told him violence would make him great. Well, now he needs something to do, you know? So I think that, and Brandon ended up getting help in prison and all that, and I quote him in the book as well. Like, just the humanizing of the subject is really important to me because like, especially in football where these guys you can't see their faces when they're on, as opposed to a baseball player or a basketball player or soccer or something like that. And I think that's important. That changes so much. Like, it impacts how people view you when they can see you smile. You know, like see your mannerisms. Like that's huge. Think of how many people are marketable because of a smile or something that has to do with their face. You know, even if something like corny, like The Rock and is raising his eyebrow, right? Like he wouldn't be able to do that if he was wearing a helmet, right? That wasn't part of the shtick. And so I think getting to know these guys when they don't have their helmet on has always been important to me, but it just took it to the next level, really. And I think there were a lot of guys in this book that there were misconceptions about them. I think the main one being Marshawn, you know, that like he was camera shy or something like that, or afraid of the media. Man, Marshawn's everywhere. He got TV shows. He's in like 3 movies dropping this year. Yep. Like he wasn't afraid of talking to the media. He felt like he was being misrepresented because he was being interviewed and questioned by people who weren't familiar with his story, you know, and his background. And once I learned that about Marshawn, who I had a funny interaction with him before I wrote the book, like once I learned that about him, it really just took it up a notch. Like, you got to humanize these guys. Like, you can't present yourself as an outsider. You got to take yourself into their world, and that's what I tried to do in the book.
Right. And how has been the feedback on the book, whether it be from your peers, ex-teammates, coaches? Like, how has been the overall feedback about your book?
I think the first thing that made me feel really good about the book, even before it came out, was that Doug believed I could do it. Because I was really nervous about it. I went to go meet up with Doug in Renton. You know, he's doing his investing stuff now and got a community center and everything. And I was really nervous. You know, I really wanted to do this pitch to him, this long spiel. I had it ready, practiced in the mirror type of thing about getting him to do the forward, thinking I'd have to spend like an hour talking him into it. Right. Sat down with him. I was like, hey, Doug, I really want you to do the forward. He was like, oh, that's what you want? Yeah, I'll do it. I was like, oh, dang, I just wasted, you know, all this time preparing. But the reason he later explained that he believed in me to do it because he knew I understood the empathy required to tell the stories, you know, like off rip, that just gave me a lot of confidence. And even in like a lot of the interviews I did on Zoom or in person, sitting down with guys invite me to their houses to do these interviews, like they all said the same things, like, we know you'll do it right, you know, and this is before they read anything. And I thought that meant a lot to me. And then since the release, I feel like the people who have been able to get through the whole book have understood what I was trying to accomplish. It's not just, here's a Wikipedia page of the Legion of Boom era, printed in a book for $28. No, that's a waste of everyone's time, including mine. It really is to go deeper on the main characters, on Pete, on John Snyder, on Richard Sherman, on Russell Wilson, on Ken Chancellor, on Bobby Wagner, like all of these people. You know, I think that was the goal, and the people who have read it, that came across. And I think the other thing that the people I've talked to who are outside of Seattle who have read it, they also got my other goal, which was to make you feel something about this era and learn something new. I love talking to fans from Philly who've read it, or Chicago, or like, you're an NFL fan, but you don't really know what happened over here. You're not embedded in the Seattle community. I talked to someone who was from Philly who read the book, and he was, oh my God, I had no idea. It's like, yes, that's what I want, right there, you know. So I can't wait for more feedback, good or bad. I'm just used to it. I just want people to experience it. I wrote this book. It took me 2 years to write it. I wrote half of it while I was on paternity leave, taking care of my daughter, and planning my wedding at the same time. So like, I almost blacked out writing it. So it's like, when I read the final copy right before it printed, I was like, man, this is something I can be proud of. I can't wait until people get this. So far, so good.
That's what's up. And speaking of being proud of and, you know, commending you on your work, like, we actually wanted to give you a gift in that celebration of having this book and give you this bottle, because, you know, it is almost the weekend.
It is almost the weekend.
You know? And so we just wanted to gift you with that, man, so you can be able to cheers to your celebration with your family and whoever else you've been celebrating the hard work and having this book be out, man. We just wanted to
this means a lot. Thank you so much, man. I'm so proud. I'm happy to sit down with you guys, man. it means so much to me. We got the sign up here that says Black Media Matters. You know, like I try to go to the National Association of Black Journalists Conference when I can. You know, and link up with Jerry Brewer, who runs the Seattle chapter of Association of Black Journalists. Like the Black media does matter. You know, like I mentioned with the mental health, that's a part of it. Like that, I think not just say someone Black had to tell the story, but I'm glad I got to do it first. You know, because I do think there's a level of care that was required. And that you really got to understand, you know, especially dealing with someone like Marshawn. You got to understand, Marshawn. If we got time, can I tell the Marshawn story I alluded to? Because it was really funny.
Absolutely.
So it's funny because you brought up, they got my full name on there. So Doug says he'll do the book. And then he's like, I can get you Marshawn. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, this is shout out to Doug. All right, so I get a random call one day from an Oakland number. I have to answer pretty much every unknown number because so many agents and sources will call me the numbers I don't have saved. So unfortunately, I answer everything. I answer it, and I'm like, hello, this is Michael Sean. And no lie, he's like, Michael Sean? Your name Michael Sean, bro? I'm like, yeah, you know, people call me Michael. My name's Michael Sean. He's like, your name Michael Sean? My name Marshawn. I could be your pops. And he doesn't say hello or nothing. This is the first interaction. I'm like, well, I hope you're not my pops. You know, my dad's name is Michael. Like, I was so confused. You know, he doesn't mention it, doesn't say what up. You know, and then we got to talking, and our schedules didn't align for me to end up doing the book with him. But it's like that was my first one-on-one interaction with Marshawn, and I just felt in that convo, just like that's how I can see why people will run through a wall for that guy. You know, just because like the way, like even just saying like, yeah, man, Doug said that you're doing a book and I should do it, so I'm gonna do it, you know, because he was like, Doug's my son too. I was just like, you know what, I can see why people, I've always known, but that was my first like one-on-one interaction with him, you know, and like I said, our schedules didn't line up. The day he texted me we could do the book interview, I was putting on my tux to get married. I was getting married in like 30 minutes. And I was like, texting back, I was like, dog, I'm getting married, like, can we do it another time? He's like, congratulations, boss. And that was it. But like, yeah, that I'm never gonna forget that. Just like you said, I didn't whole names on the book.
It sounds like his personality shined through in that conversation.
Oh man, and after that, I was like, I gotta make sure the Marshawn chapters are correct. Like I got to, and those ended up being my favorite chapters in the book.
Oh, that's what's up. Well, before we get out of here, we're doing something different. I actually got like a quick little game for you. Besa came up with the title. Okay. It's called Rapid 12. I'm going to give you rapid fire 12 questions. Pretty much there should be a one answer question, but you know, we'll just kind of get your take on, you know, a little Seahawks facts and just, you know, what's your things you like. Okay. All right, so rapid 12, just firing off. All right, favorite Legion of Boom member?
Ooh, Richard Sherman.
Okay. Favorite Seahawk of all time?
Doug Baldwin.
Doug Baldwin. Most exciting play ever witnessed?
Ooh, okay. This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Tyler Lockett had a toe-tapping touchdown on Thursday Night Football. I want to say in 2019 when they had on the action green uniforms, back corner of the south end zone. That might have been the most athletic play I think I've ever seen.
Heard you. Okay, and now considering the Super Bowl winning team, what would you say? Like, would you rather prefer the offense or defense? What was your favorite?
I'm gonna go with the defense. I'm gonna go with the defense. Okay. They had the right attitude that I like.
Heard you. All right, Marshawn Lynch or Sean Alexander?
Oh, Marshawn. You heard that story I just told? You think I'm gonna pick Sean?
Hey, you know, you
Sean
never
Alexander
know.
after that? No, man, I gotta go with Marshawn, who is not my pops. Gotta go Marshawn.
All right, CenturyLink Field or Lumen Field?
Oh, you know, I actually like CenturyLink. I like the Clink as the nickname as opposed to the Lou, because that's the bathroom. You know, like I don't like people call it the Lou. That's, Clink is a lot cooler.
Okay, and then speaking of jerseys, the Wolf Gray uniforms or the Action Green?
Oh, I'm a big Action Green gang. If you search that on X right now, it's probably just all tweets of me. Since like 2016 or whenever they got those, I'm a big highlighter color person. I love them.
Because that was the like neon edition, right?
Oh yeah, those is fire.
Yep. Okay. And then a couple more questions here. Richard Sherman trash talk or Cam Chancellor big hit?
Oh man, no, I that's a tough one. I gotta go with Richard Sherman Trash Talk. He's got so many good ones, but I really think that when he told Skip Bayless, "I'm better than you at life," like
That's true.
That's heavy.
That's true.
It's just so pointed, and just so succinct. As a journalist, I kind of self-edit when I write.
With the way Cam Chancellor was doing Vernon Davis like that, you sure?
Yeah, no, Vernon's recollection of that. He told it to a bunch of kids in DC a few years ago, and it's on camera. And just his recollection of that, like, you would think he got hit by the Hulk. Like it's almost like it happened yesterday. Like I said, that's a tough one. But as someone who's really big into like words, obviously, yeah, I think Sherm just really sticks with me.
Okay. Winning the division or beating the 49ers?
Ooh, you know what? That's a tough one as well. I'm going to go with the division because it's worthy of like celebration, like with something like champagne, a cigar. Right. Like Jamal Adams smoked a cigar at his press conference when they won in 2020. I love that feeling of victory, which thank you guys. I'm going to feel that later.
Yep. Okay. So Beastquake won or the fake field goal against the Packers?
Oh, man. I think this is tough as well. I'm going to go with Beastquake. That's tough.
The earthquake is crazy.
Yeah, and on top of that, Marshawn really gave like, he said it was like an allegory for like his upbringing. He kind of described it as like, I'm jumping over poverty. I'm running through like my past. Like it was incredible.
That's deep.
Marshawn just dropping the word allegory was fire too. It's a word people don't say that often,
right.
But it was very dope. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Marshawn on that because of what that meant.
Okay. And then game on the line, who's the ball going to for you? DK Metcalf or Doug Baldwin?
Oh, Doug Baldwin. 10 out of 10, man. Remember I mentioned that he got called out by Deion for not being somebody that the best corner would follow. Not only did Revis follow him, Doug had one catch in that game. It was on Revis. It was for a touchdown.
Come on.
So yeah, I'm going with Doug.
All right, bet. Last question. This has been the question for the world and anybody that's really from Seattle or a Seahawks fan. 1 yard line, Super Bowl 49. Are you running it or passing it?
I am running that thing to Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
Man. I just can't. I spent a lot of time on that in the book, Super Bowl 49, and it really might be the most single impactful sports moment in Seattle history, and I don't think it'll be ever topped because of what it meant to those guys for the rest of their lives. So I remember one time Sherman told me why he was so upset about it. If we'd have beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in back-to-back Super Bowls, we'd have been the best defense ever. And when he said, I knew that, but when he said it, I said, oh, damn, you're right. And now that's off the table. Now they're just one of. And that distinction, those two words, that qualifier, that means everything.
Yeah.
That's tough. So, yeah, I'm giving the thing to Marshawn, so we ain't got to worry about that.
That's real. Well, yeah, that's the Into Our Rapid 12, bro. I feel like you answered those perfectly. I tried to stump you a couple times. But
those are tough.
You got through it, though. Before we get out of here, did you have any more questions or anything?
No, the only thing that I would have you do is look right into your camera and let everybody know why they should get your book.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, please go cop the franchise Seattle Seahawks, A Curated History of the Legion of Boom era. It's the greatest era in Seattle sports history, and the chronicling of it goes in deep to all of the main characters who made you feel something in real time, and hopefully when you read the book, you'll feel something about them forever.
Awesome sauces. And then everyone, where can we grab this book right now?
Yeah, the book is available everywhere books are sold. That's your local bookstore. That's Amazon. That's Barnes & Noble. Shoot, you can buy them from me out the trunk. If you want, you run into me. You're at Lumen Field. I'll come sign your book at halftime. Come meet me at the Tunnel Club. Just DM me. My DMs are open. But everywhere books are sold, you can get a book. Or again, you can get them from me. International shipping as well. We'll get you one in Taiwan, Australia, Scotland. Don't matter. I will make sure you get a book. I promise you.
Awesome sauces. Well, shoot, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We could definitely talk for a long time about the Legion of Boom. Like, it's just one of those topics that can just go on and on and on. So we might even have to do a part 2 to this, especially once more of you finally grab the book and you get into it. But in the meantime, between time, Cuddy, it's time for another break.
That it is.
And we got to talk about our weekend picks. Of course, it's almost a weekend.
A Better Vision Outreach and United Business Connections present the 4th annual Back to School function, happening Saturday, August 30th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. We've got free haircuts for the kiddos, backpacks, school supplies, food, clothing, live performances, and a live DJ you won't want to miss. Plus, each child will leave with a brand new backpack filled with essential school supplies.
Can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to go to school.
Welcome back, everybody, to Almost the Weekend. I'm your co-host, Curtis Delgardo.
And I'm Besa Gordon.
And we just got done with the fire interview with our guy, Mike Dugar. So now we're just wrapping up and about to do our weekend picks.
Yes, we are. And let me see. Okay, my weekend pick, of course, I did all PDX Hip Hop Week events. You know what? I think I'm going to do 2. I'm going to be greedy, all right? So if you can make it to the Late Lyric Hip Hop Open Mic that is tonight, depending on what day you're watching this, okay? Thursday, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. This is going down at White Owl Social Club, okay? I think that's gonna be a schmood. And then, of course, on Sunday, you have the Star Awards that's going down over at the Patricia Reeser Center for the Arts. And that is from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then if you want to do one more, just because you might want to be a little healthy, definitely do the hip hop healthy walk.
Those are smooth. The walk definitely sounds like a vibe.
I know,
but I'm not mad at your
outside.
picks though this weekend. I'm definitely not. I feel like for me, I'm gonna go celebrate with R&B Live Only and their 10-year anniversary and go to SoDo Showbox on Saturday, August 23rd from 8 p.m. again to 1 a.m. Get your tickets on Eventbrite and definitely meet me down at the Showbox so we can step in the name of love with the R&B Live Only.
By the way, R&B Live Only is the R&B event that always happens that you always see on Instagram after it's already happened.
Facts.
So if you're mad because you always miss it, like me, I suggest you pull up this Saturday, just like.
But don't say I ain't tell you nothing, all right? I done gave you the spiel. I got the flyer up there.
Don't
link.
say you didn't know this time.
Because I'm gonna be having a good time. I'm gonna talk about it afterwards, so don't get mad at me. You should have been there.
No, big facts. So with that being said, we have one more thing for you guys. We have to announce our We Rise Wine winner. Okay? It is going to Gloria Griggs.
Hey, shout out to Miss Gloria. I'm glad you got to
you, Miss G.
tap in with the wine, get that $50 gift card. Definitely make sure you go down there, tell our people down there that we sent you, and hey, have a glass on us, you know?
Okay, or if you're like me, get the non-alcoholic one. It's actually really good. It kind of tastes like a little bit like apple juice, but I like it. Anywho, please look out for an email from me so I can give you directions on how you can pick up your gift card and head on over to We Rise Wines and get you some of that good wine. But in the meantime, between time, you guys, look, it really is almost the weekend, Cuddy.
That it is.
So that means that we got to get out of here. So until next time, make sure that you keep up with us on, you can find me on social media at Besa Gordon, but you can also keep up with the show on whereweconverge.com/almost the weekend.
And you guys can keep up with me at Cuddy the Sensei. That's CUDDYTHA Sensei. And also, if you want an event featured on here, go to events at Where We Converge. Email it there or whereweconverge.com/events.
Alrighty. Well, shoot, it's been an amazing show. Make sure you tap in with everyone that we talked about today. And of course, until next time, like I said, it's almost the weekend. So of course, we'll see you next week. Bye.